Greetings, traveler, come warm yourself by the fire and let us regale you with mighty tales, tales of adventure, tales of heroism, and tales of Tamriel. I am your host, Arkhaniir, and as you may have guessed, Aggelos is not around this week. The most recent news of Elder Scrolls Online made him so happy. He actually got sick over it, so I'll be taking over the show for this week, and we all know that's gonna turn out amazingly. I'm joined by the one, the only, the person who's not allowed to tell his tales today, LotusofDoom. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good, although I do feel slightly oppressed.
No. This is a very justified use of power. I've been waiting for this. There's nothing wrong about it.
I should have known this would come back eventually.
Oh yes. I'm just gonna edit, I have the power behind. So Promethean is also not here because his internet service provider decided that he does not want, he cannot be on the show. So we'll have to wage war upon them some other time and get him back on here. So,
yeah. Unfortunately tonight it doesn't seem like Comcast likes him, and at last minute his thing kind of crapped out, so yeah. It's a shame.
Yeah, well, it'll be just the two of us, and we'll talk about all things that has happened within the last week, which is a lot. We have the data mining stuff, we have the clicker event, we have the leaks that I actually didn't really take a look. That I heard. I actually saw you talking about this on Twitter.
Oh,
are there further leaks to the story?
So I stopped looking after who was that? Wicked Wolf. I was talking to about it, and from what he was saying, is a decent chunk of stuff has leaked. And I was like, well, I don't want to. Spoilers don't really bother me necessarily, unless it's like the crux of a story. But I don't go looking for them. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, if that's not what you're looking for, he's like, just take my word on it. I was like, done and done. So I just stopped there.
Okay, so we are not going to go into that either because I didn't check them myself.
Yeah.
Also, I always give Ag a hard time because he forgets saying hello to chat room, hello, welcome. I already see a lot of familiar names and a lot of, names to get familiarized with, I suppose. But thank you all so much for coming out to this episode of Derailed Show. We are already derailed, but
yeah, we haven't even gotten on the rails, and we're already well off them.
We are now drifting on like 2-track drifting. That's
Good luck editing this, Zach.
The initial plan was to go into Tales first, and I just butchered that by starting to talk about the leaks. But let's
give some foreshadowing. We're a marketing team just like us. We're foreshadowing what we're going to be doing.
So let's try to get back on track just a little bit, and I'll let you start with your tales.
Okay, mine are a little less involved. Yours are actually much more interesting. So mine I can kind of condense pretty quickly. So one thing of note, I don't really have an opinion on it just yet, but related to people in chatting with us, I have recently started the Elder Scrolls novels by Greg Keyes. I know Casual Ranger has as well. I saw him talking about them on Twitter. I just started them as well.
Elder Scrolls novels?
Yes. The Infernal City, and I don't remember the other one offhand, and I'm not in my game room, so I can't turn around and just grab it, which is super awkward.
I didn't even know such a thing existed. Can you type in the author's name?
I was going to say I can. It's Greg Keyes. I'll actually just type it.
Typing it will be more helpful. Yeah, for me as well, not just anyone.
Yeah. I don't know if that's exactly how you spell it offhand, but that if you look it up,
that should come up. Yeah.
But it's, what do you call it? I don't have a solid opinion on him because I'm not too far in the first one yet. But just something of note, that is something that I started. I do know how one of them connects into Skyrim with the sleeping tree, that is a direct relation to one of the novels, and that's kind of what spurred me wanting to read them. So as I get farther in them, I can have maybe a better update than just I did technically start these things. Let's see, what else did I do? I've been playing a lot of Legends, actually. My wife and I have been kind of trying to watch some movies because I'm not good at watching TV. And while I do that, I have a tendency to multitask. So
apparently you're not good at watching TV either, then.
No, I'm not.
I'm in the mood.
I TV wrong. So I've been playing a decent amount of Legends, which I'm mediocre at Legends at best. But they have a lot of these new concepts that they're doing. There's an expansion coming out soon, but they have puzzles. Like, they give you a set of cards per hand against an opponent. You need to win basically using that within a single turn. And that's where I learned that I am awful at puzzles. Just terrible. I recently completed them, but I can't imagine how many hundreds of times I failed at all of them. So I didn't feel a sense of accomplishment so much as a sense of, man, I really am bad at puzzles with those. But again, I find it a fun game, and the story to it's actually pretty decent. It takes place after Skyrim. Anytime they do story expansions. So that's, moderately interesting. And then the only other thing I feel of note, since I won't...
You can go ahead. You can.
All right, so totally Guaraniir's Adventures.
The people demand it.
Okay, so let's see. I've been playing a lot of Midyear Mayhem. I managed to bump myself up to level 21 in Malakath on the leaderboards at the moment. I'm sure since I stopped playing that 9,000 people have pig-piled in front of me, but... it's been fun so far. A little on the laggy side, as to be expected with that many people, but it's still fun. But since last we talked, Guaraniir is now level 40, so 10 levels until he hits CP rank, which is, what is that, maybe 2 weeks? 2 weeks now, I think he's been
I don't know, 2 years, 5 years, 10?
Dragon break amount of years.
Yeah.
So he's level 40. I ran out of my double XP from the event, unfortunately, which has slowed me a bit. I have 2 pieces left. His Guaraniir is still rocking, as I am making a fortune selling all these extra things because I just keep getting the same globe pieces, but I can't get the last 2 I need. So I just keep selling all the others, which is nice.
How much per piece are you selling them?
So after I found that I was undercutting everybody with the cat chunks by selling them so I started selling these for 10K, and I think I've sold 14 of them at this point.
Ooh, nice.
Because I just keep getting the same one.
That's because of your heretic actions of creating that character. You are doomed for eternity to be rich but never getting what you want.
And then as a result of that, I was kind of like, okay, well, I might as well start doing the daily, random daily dungeon, just because that's worth a decent chunk of XP with or without a potion. Bump those up to 20K. Oh man, I'm still undercutting people. I can't. I feel like I'm ripping people off, and apparently all I'm doing is just screwing over the market.
This is the problem with, I guess, PlayStation, or rather consoles, because on PC, I can just drop Master Merchant or Tamriel Trade Center, and I get an average price at least, but yeah, how do you price anything on consoles? I just realized this. How do people find, how do you decide?
I mean, you have my method of pick a random number and have chat tell you that wasn't a good number that you picked.
I guess that could work eventually.
Yeah, I would assume that I could probably price, I'm not even sure what my approach would be. I'm not a huge market person, as I just kind of throw stuff up and guess, which does not seem to be doing a great job. So yeah, I don't have a solid method. Yeah, I was going to say, and yeah, you could run and kind of compare on traders. I don't have the dedication for that.
Yeah,
so I would never do that.
I used to do it, but nah.
Yeah, and that the other thing is I could almost like use like the method of like checking via PC, like what you guys generally have, and then just kind of because the prices are comparable on console, like from what I know.
So.
Even in the ballpark, it'd be probably a better idea than just blind guessing like I'm doing. But yeah, so Guaraniir has been going through dungeons, and he is. I am sexploring my way up. I don't even know what. I don't actually know what role to choose.
No role. Just delete the character.
So IQ is all 3, and I let the game decide what I'm going in as in a random. And you know, it's. I know the Sexplorer is kind of supposedly outdated in terms of whatever plan it was.
It was never not outdated.
So let me put it this way, which is awkwardly, I guess, me sort of endorsing this build. I am in level 1 training gear. Granted, it's purple, but I'm built exactly like Ag set up a Sexplorer because I really wanted to run with this joke. And I have now cleared, I think, 3 dungeons and haven't died yet or had a single wipe.
These are normal dungeons, though.
They're just normal dungeons.
These are not veteran dungeons. Scale color hard mode stuff.
Certainly not. Okay. But I do find it funny because since he's level 40 and I'm using level 1, this is basically me doing these naked at this point. These things are useless crap except for the XP bonus. But I've been surprised how well they work. So I'm hoping by next show, I will be pleased to announce that Guaraniir has hit level 50 and then will be CP 1000, whatever he is. And then that I can update his picture and we can complete the cycle.
Oh my god. This is why we were going to skip Tales.
Yeah, I don't know why you wanted to skip that. So what have you been up to, Ark?
Well, not being Guar, that's for sure. Alright, so, first things first, I finally got, recently, ZeniMax released the option to purchase 1 year of ESO Plus, which I went ahead and did that. 20k crowns, and not worrying about your sub for an entire year. Plus, it's like 20% cheaper, 17% cheaper, something like that.
Yeah, it cuts down a decent little chunk. But obviously, the longer you buy it, the more it cuts down.
Yep, so it was nice. So I actually getting back into ESO because for a few weeks I was without ESO Plus, and it's just I don't want to do anything when you don't have that crafting packs. It's just tedious.
It's rough. I'm currently subbed, and I'm not usually. It's lovely. It's so lovely to have that thing.
Yeah, it's as Aggelos says, it's a drug. Crafting bags are drugs.
Oh yeah.
Once you try them, you can't go back. So with that, the main reason I got it was to we were about to do a trial, normal Halls of Fabrication with the Drunkenborns, the Guild of Ophelia Noir, and we actually completed it. We wiped, I think, well, until the final boss, we wiped once, and then once we were in the final boss. Oh, I just lost Lotus.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, okay. It's just the camera.
Yeah, I think I clicked something weird. Ignore me.
I wasn't sure if your Discord just went down completely.
No, I think that was me clicking something as I was tabbing over to something else.
So at the final boss, the fight is actually very fun. The entire dungeon, it's short, which is my favorite. There are not as many trash pulls like in Maw of Lorcage, for example, where it's trash pull upon trash pull.
That is true.
Yeah. I actually like that about the recent trials. So House of Fabrication is like that, Cloud Rest is like that, Asylum Sanctorium, I believe, is like that. So the less trash pulls there are, the happier I am, because I really don't like the trash pull sequences. They don't really challenge you, and they just extend the time for no reason, in my opinion, that is. I didn't do veteran trials yet, so maybe on veteran they're brutal enough that it's actually fun to go through them.
Nah, they kind of still just slow you down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like them. So at the final boss, there's a phase. So you go to the sides, one group to the left, one group to the right, and you have to kill the Dwemer Spheres. And then apparently you have to stay still.
Yes.
So we have this one single person in the group who's a pug. So we were missing one single damage dealer. So someone just called some random person from one of the guilds they are in. And this person, so our DPS, Geomatic, he's a min-maxer, and he gets frustrated. Like, even when we are running together, I sometimes annoy him so much, like, I can sense the change in his voice, and I have to stop, like, fooling around and actually play the thing. So he's going, okay, we do not move. Like, he's explaining all the fights, and he's like, okay, in this sequence, we don't move at all, no matter what happens, just stay still. Yeah. So it takes a couple of wipes for everyone to be adjusted to it, because this is not a trial group. Like, at least half the group was doing a trial for the first time.
Sure.
So it's yeah. Go ahead.
It's funny you mention that, just because. I totally hear that. The first time I ever ran Halls of Fabrication, I was trying to grasp all the stuff you said, and there's a lot of mechanics in Halls of Fabrication, and they really are punishing on Vet. And when they were like, yeah, so you just pull, you just chill in the middle and just don't move. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. And I swear they didn't, but I also say maybe I was just overwhelmed with the amount of content I was taking in, but they didn't mention where I'm standing. So I'm thinking, like, I just stand in the middle, and nobody mentioned that you put your feet on the rails, like, around the base.
Oh, wait. You do?
Oh, yeah, that's what we would line our feet up on the rails.
Oh, see, I didn't
so that
know
you
that.
wouldn't be so close to each other on the center ring.
At
the
center, yeah.
So
on the
there
center,
were a few of us that just were kind of hanging out, and it blasted us, and the hero was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, standing here, I'm not moving, and then we all died. And everyone's like, I can't believe you three idiots just did it. I was like, I stopped moving. What do you want from me? So no, I know what you mean. It's very interesting, that trial.
Oh, Lotus, hold on. Apparently you are frozen. I mean, you are not frozen on Discord, but you are frozen on the Streamlabs. So, oh no, you started moving suddenly. What?
I'm very shocking.
I was going to fix it, but then you actually started moving, so
that's weird.
Yeah, well, it's fixed.
Would we say Dragon breaks for all these errors?
It's the fault of Abner Tarn.
Yep.
All right, continue.
No, that was it. I just kind of like my first run seemed to definitely. This is bringing me back to some of my failures the first time I ran this.
So we wiped a couple times. So everyone eventually figured out to not move, like ever slowly. You can see, like, every wipe, one more person stops moving, except this one random that we have, and he's not in Discord, so he's not in voice chat. So we are typing to him, and you're like, I'm not moving. I'm moving to you. At that point, so Geo usually, when he gets frustrated, first his voice change, then he sighs. He's like, and then he goes silent completely. He gives up. And at this point, Geo and this random, and I am on the same side, so I can see what's happening. And this guy is twitching. He's like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Right in front of Geo, and he's completely silent, and I just keep laughing because I know he's suffering there, and he's
just
back and
fuming
forth, back
on
and
the
forth,
other
back
side
and
of
forth.
The mic.
So eventually we cleared it out. It took a few tries, but eventually we did it, and it's a fun dungeon. But that's my highlight, just watching that random go back and forth right in front of Geo. Yeah, it's slowly breaking him. It was my favorite.
No, I liked the Halls of Fabrication, and it's fun. It's complicated in and of itself, kind of. But that is the only thing to date in the game that when I beat it on Veteran, I said I will never do this again. Because that became a thing where it was no longer fun. It became like, I have to beat this because now I'm developing a twitch because I haven't beaten it. On Veteran, it is so just brutal with the mechanics. As is, the mechanics kill you pretty efficiently on normal.
Yeah.
I forget what does the Dwemer Centurion have for health in the final fight? I don't remember.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't have the health counts up because I don't deal damage anyway. So
I keep it just in the bar so I can tell. Like it looks like the Skyrim bar, but I keep that number and percentage inside the bar itself. So I just wasn't sure if you knew, because
I think I have them like in the options on. But I never look up to the health bar. It's not my job. I look at my own health bar. I don't care about the boss.
Because I know on Vet, like when we went in there, and I think it was 98 million hit points, and I was just like, oh, this is. I know what's involved with this on normal, so I was like, we got to do this for 98 million hit points, and I had a very unorthodox group. We had 6 damage, 3 tanks, and 3 healers was how we did that trial. And our successful run, I might have said this on the podcast, our successful run, not including the failures, was 9 hours.
I mean, I'm trying to calculate. So if you had 8 damage dealers with 60k DPS per second, 60k damage per second, right? So 97 million health. So 8 times 6, that's 480. So that gives 200,000 seconds. Let's divide that by 60.
Oh boy.
That's 3.3 thousand minutes. Let's divide that by another 60. That's what? Okay, I miscalculated something. That's 56 hours. That's not.
No, it can't be 56 hours. We beat it in now. We did this.
Yeah, I did something wrong there.
I mean, granted, the people I was with were very, very good at what they did, but it was just like, whew, there were several points where people needed to like turn their mics off because it's like, all right, I'm just going to be a real big douchebag right now if I talk, so I'm just going to quietly turn my mic off and yell to myself. And yeah, once I completed that, I don't even like the skin that much. It's fine. You just kind of look like you have gold face paint on, and it's just smeared kind of like, it's almost like Nord paint, as if it was like red or tribal, like orc paint, like the war paint, except it's like gold. You can't see it because I wear heavy armor and a helmet, but anytime I craft, you can see it. And people ask me, they're like, what is that? That's like a weird skin. I was like, it's my Halls of Fabrication skin, and I'm never taking it off because that's the thing I've ever done.
Yeah, that's the thing with skins. Like, I don't use them at all because basically that's not my character. That's not what my character is doing. But
sure,
if I had something like Halls of Fabrication, Veteran Clear, Hard Mode thing, skin, I would show it off. Like, I would go naked around. I don't care. So yeah. Other than that, let's actually Tales was supposed to be short for us. We still have a lot of discussions.
We really crushed that part.
Yeah. I was watching Nika's stream, Ophelia Noir's stream, and I was in chat talking about all the Abnortarn stuff from last week, and I got recognized by a listener of ours, Mystic Man. That made my day. I love getting recognized from Tales of Tamriel when I'm somewhere else. I still haven't been recognized in the game, but that might be because my character is not named Arkhaniir. And also our main, I believe, listener base is in North American side. So
that's true.
Yeah. European listeners, I am in European server. Come find me.
Yes, find Arkhaniir.
So yeah, that was mainly my Tales. We can move on to the actual news stuff. one quick dimension I'll get out of the way. Midyear Mayhem is on. Go into Cyrodiil, do your quest, get your double experience bonus, get your double alliance point bonus, earn event tickets by completing Battlemaster Riven Battleground quests, or Cyrodiilic bounty missions.
Or town quest count, too, is one of the things. Yeah, because I've seen a lot of people being like, I don't really like PvP, or this isn't for me. The Cyrodiil town quests, each town, you can access a town pretty much very easily from any of the alliances. They're very quick, they're very easy. Just bounce in, grab one, do it real quick, and you'll still get your things for your Indrix, since I know a lot of people are collecting those.
Yeah.
It'll only take you like 10 minutes at most, so...
Okay.
If it seems daunting, you don't need to worry too much about it. That's an easy trick for people.
Right. Okay, well, that was it for Midyear Mayhem. There's an article, like full-on article for what you can earn and things like that, but that's not...
Yeah, this is the third or fourth one. Most people, I think, have gotten used to Midyear Mayhem and what it's about.
So, last week, the ESO stream team members started getting these tablets, broken tablets, and a letter from Abner Tarn, and we talked about this in the previous episode. However, we have received new information, some from ZeniMax Online, and some from the data miners, the very dedicated data miners, which we are going to actually talk about, as well as a discussion, whether if it's good or bad. But first... Let's
and we
talk
won't
about
spoil anything. Other than
not?
To be fair, neither of us have looked up the spoilers.
Oh yeah,
so
we just
be able to.
Actually, let's give a disclaimer. We are going to talk about the data mine stuff. This was mainly blew up on Twitter. So if you don't want to know what the next chapter is and what new stuff we are getting until 15th, where ZeniMax Online has an official announcement stream, which is called the Season of the Dragon. Just stop listening at this point. So we are going to talk about the leaks. All right, I'm gonna give it a 5 seconds for everyone to stop listening if they don't want to, and then I'm going to start. I guess that's
good enough.
Casual Ranger is already saying bad in my opinion for data mining. But it's there are details to talk about. So the data mine contains the next class, the next chapter, and dragons, which some people are very excited about and some people are extremely upset. Aggelos.
I think you mean he's so excited he couldn't make it tonight.
He got sick. He's like grief illness thing. The class is Necromancer and the chapter is Elsewhere. I hope it was Elsewhere, but I'll ask.
I kind of made the joke about the Khajiit in Skyrim thing, and and I was like, oh wow, that was more on the nose than I expected. It's not Khajiit in Skyrim, it's dragons in Elsewhere. I did it backwards.
So yeah, next class, it specifically says class, is...
So it does.
Wait,
Well, the thing that was weird and kind of a nod at the tenants for this one, when listening to their podcast, I believe, it was Stark Realm who pointed out the fact that if you looked at the data mined information, it does seem like it is a class at this point from what continues to kind of come out and be hinted at. I was hoping for a skill line personally, not a class, but the thing he mentioned is if you look at the way that it's coded, the symbol doesn't match, I guess, the Warden symbol from Vardenfell and Morrowind. It actually matches a DLC symbol as if it was like a dungeon pack or something. So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of had my finger. I mean, I guess it's not confirmed yet because they haven't. This is still going on data mine. I would kind of like it to be a story thing as opposed to even a class. Be us working for or against necromancers. that would just be more interesting to me personally, even though I know tons of people are excited about being a necromancer.
Yep. I mean, I don't know about the logo stuff, like it could just be a placeholder image, or
I think that might be what it is.
The class could be part of the DLC.
Sure.
My main concern is ZeniMax Online was never really good with balancing. I mean, it's an MMORPG. There's no balancing in MMORPGs. Of course,
there's always hiccups, and
so
I mean, even as is playing in Battlegrounds, trying to dig your way through all of the Sork pets to actually hit my opponent so I can capture a flag is a miserable experience.
Yep. So, I mean, what type of a class will it be is the first question. Is it going to be more like Warden, where there are pets, but they are just cast and they are gone? So you like raise zombie, a zombie comes out from the ground, punches someone, and then just crumbles into dust again? Or is it going to be more like Pet Sorks, where you run around with like 3 zombies and a dragon?
Oh god. Oh god. That would be interesting.
So initially I thought, okay, class is a bad idea. So if it was a skill line, at least everybody could use it. And then I thought, so Casual Ranger is again saying, I wish it was a skill line that would help build diversity. But imagine a pet Sork also having access to zombies. That would just be too much.
I suppose. But okay, I mean, depending upon how they do it, I'll be very curious to see the skills they have, period. Because when I'm thinking a necromancer, I'm thinking something along the lines of Diablo or something, where it's like, okay, look, I've got all these skeletons or zombies or whatever. Wink, wink, you could use Corpse Explosion. That'd be a fun skill. But the thing is, like, I don't know which would be trickier to balance, because I'm not a designer and I can't imagine trying to keep track of all the things they have to keep track of. But like, since I don't really play alts, I like the idea, like every time they've had the Thieves Guild or the Dark Brotherhood or the Psijic Order, I kind of like bolting on, like, oh, here's a new skill line. You get to do this on top of that, and you come up with some interesting ways. And the only thing I could see being an issue, not so much with the game itself, but around the situation, is for a while people were whining the Warden was like, oh, way to paywall in our class. Well, the Psijic Order skill line was kind of another thing where they're like, oh, and then it turned out it really wasn't unbalanced. If this was actually a really good skill line, they'd probably just have to listen to that nonstop about like, oh, it's pay to win, and all right, it's not pay to. It's an expansion pack. It's pay to continue to play and be relevant. I don't know, like, I don't know. That's just kind of my thing. But I know what you're saying. Pay to win is,
I bring out my credit card and everyone in Cyrodiil dies. To my might. It's so I buy armor that is. I buy armor that is, I don't know, gives like the best stats, or I don't know, things like that. A skill line or a class, unless they really, really extremely mess up the balancing. So like if you play Warden, you are invincible and everybody dies. But no, I've seen Wardens fall left and right. I killed a lot of Wardens myself.
Exactly. I mean, it'd be one thing if they brought the Necromancer back and they're like, oh, you know how we fixed Rune Cage? Yeah, well, we gave the broken one to the Necromancer. It's like, all right, like that could be an issue. But I don't know, like having viable things that come out with expansions, like you said, that does not make it pay to win. That's a literal expansion.
Yep.
And with them putting Vardenfell and stuff like that into kind of just the like ESO plus pool going forward. Okay, fine. Then just be patient for a year. Because I would assume going forward, they will, like, when this is released, Somerset's jewelry crafting will probably become base game, would be my guess going forward.
I expect so. So like Battleground became base game.
Yeah, I don't know. The balance of that could be very, very interesting, but I have no desire to restart a character or play an alt. So it's kind of like, okay, I mean, that's fine because I know, like I said, I know people are excited about it. But it's just like that's a feature of the game that I probably won't mess too much with, just as a result of it being a class, if it is one.
Yep. I mean, I'll probably start a character if it's a necromancer class to see what's it about. Probably level up to like 20 or something.
Sure.
And then yeah, I don't like leveling alts. I am happy with my Dragon Knight, although I need more skill points. I'm trying to do everything on a single character. It's not good.
Oh man, yeah. The amount of content in this game is overwhelming.
So I see that in chat. People have a lot of, like, Ishabu has 16 characters in total. Yeah, James likes leveling new characters. Is it only me who doesn't like it?
No, I'm with you. Everything I do, I like having be on my character. Like I don't RP, but when I play through RPGs and stuff, it's just like everything I do is just like I want this to be my version of my character in game. So everything I do, I want to experience all with that person, which I have no experience with MMOs, and I went into this just like an Elder Scrolls game, and there have been a few challenges where I was like, oh, this is not how this is meant to be played. So I've had to definitely learn a few things, but at the same time, because this to me feels like an Elder Scrolls game, at no point have I ever been stalemated where it's like, no, you can't do this. It just sometimes takes a little working.
I mean, if I just didn't do crafting, I would be fine, but with all crafting unlocked, plus being a tank, plus doing PvP at now and then, it's difficult, but it'll be fine. Anyway, that's not the topic. So necromancers. Another thing with necromancers is that, let's say you are playing necromancer, right? And you go to the Mage's Guild questline with zombies by your side. What happens? How do they, like, do we get new dialogues because of that reason, or is it just everybody just takes it just casually out
with zombies dripping off your shoulder?
Yeah, I mean, do you just walk into a Mage's Guild? Well, a Mage's Guild, and there it is, one Scalarian. He's like the guy who banned necromancy from Mage's Guild and works actively towards banning necromancy from all Tamriel, and he sees you with your zombies and he's like, yo, what's up?
Yeah, hey, how you doing? By the way, about saving the world, like, oh. So one thing that this is not my idea, although I liked it, was Bearded Chegg had mentioned just in passing when he was talking to me about the upcoming stuff on one of his streams. He was saying that since necromancy is outlawed, it would be pretty cool that necromancers hide their necromancy quite frequently. So like in games, you discover necromancers and stuff like that. But it'd be kind of neat that if they would just let it go or whatever, but if you were to use your necromantic powers around other people, that immediately triggers a kill bounty.
See,
so it's almost like illegal to use it in towns or whatever, even if it's a passive. Which I could see being kind of neat, because it almost, I mean, that's kind of how the Dark Brotherhood / Thieves Guild works, except, you know, there's practicality of stealing stuff. If you just walk in and you're like, yo, Daggerfall, here's zombies, it's like, okay, well, kill that guy because he's a lunatic. Like, so
I would love that. That would be my best. Like, that's the best way, in my opinion, they could handle this for every person who likes their immersion and role playing.
Yep.
But from a gameplay perspective, it's gonna be tough, like guards fighting people all around, because you'll misclick, summon a zombie, you're dead. You'll forget toggling off your zombie, you are dead.
You'll get into a duel and walk too close to a gate and get mugged because you're a necromancer. So yeah, I'm very curious to see what they're going to show us with this, because there's the potential for a lot of cool additions, but at the same time, it's like, oh man, that is going to be quite a juggling act they've been working on.
Yep. Apparently, it does make sense with Elsewhere, though, because now I didn't know this, but turns out Elsewhere is actually one of the few places who are more tolerant towards necromancy. So apparently Khajiits don't really care about this stuff, or at least they are tolerant or something.
Whereas if you go to any Redguard region, they would basically just murder you on sight.
That's disgrace. That's disrespect. While Khajiits are like, yo, got skooma. No, wait, are you speaking right now or? Hello?
Sorry, it went idle. My computer went idle. What was I gonna say? Yeah, that would be. I mean, the Khajiit are just fine with getting higher, and they'll let it all go. It's fine.
Okay, Casual Ranger says, well, the Longhouse Emperor Leovic did make Daedra worship legal in the Empire, and most likely necromancy as well. So perhaps it could be a bit of a norm.
That's actually kind of true, because when you think about it, a lot of the Imperials in game, especially around the city, I mean the Zero Legion and stuff, they're all kind of out of their minds. But you find a lot of necromancers floating around, so it is kind of more commonplace than it seems to be in other.
I guess it's only a problem, but well, not only a problem, but mainly authorial wise, if that's a word. Just Mages Guild and Fighters Guild are the concerned group, I suppose.
Yes, yeah, that's true, because you've got both of them dealing with it, and then obviously Priests of Archay would just be flooding out of the temples to kill everybody.
I don't know. I mean, it's as long as it's with good writing, like I think it'll be fine.
That's kind of the thing that has made me not too worried about this going forward. I'm definitely in a wait and see approach, and not in the whole, oh god, we should panic, because so far their writing team is very, very good. I've enjoyed all the stories they've had. Even the lore things that bend people out of shape have not been so egregious that they actually bother me. Like, I feel that they can be explained without needing to like retcon things so much as just, well, they didn't explicitly say it before. Now they have kind of just filled in what you assumed. And it's like, well, because you assume something doesn't necessarily make it canon lore. It's just like, well, they didn't say that it wasn't the case. You know what I mean?
I mean, they do have to every now and then mess up with the lore. It's inevitable, because this is not a single player game. They have to consider balance, symmetry between alliances. I mean, like between the people's choices, between every player's choices, there has to be symmetry. So there are performance. There are a lot of things to consider when making an MMORPG that will force you out of the canon lore at points.
Sure, and it's kind of funny. Like, all right, this is getting kind of into the side lore bit here. So, one of the things, shout out to our friend Aramithius, who has the Written on Uncertainty podcast, where if you want to get your college lecture on in terms of lore, listen to that. I was just kind of bouncing some random stuff with back and forth off him, and he mentioned something that it's not my idea. I don't actually remember where I heard it back, but I kind of agreed with it and thought that it would be an interesting concept, is the concept of ESO in general. Since so little was known about the Interregnum and the Three Banners War, is that we are literally living break, and each hero is just one of the threads that's getting pulled together in the end. So all of what we're doing is happening and not happening at the same time. And I just kind of liked that, because it was like, well, that kind of explains the fact that there's 12 million of us running around doing the same quest, and some people are dying on it, and other people are just acing it, and other people are dying in trials and dungeons, and other people aren't, and all that stuff. So just the concept of the whole thing being like a lingering break, but since it also messes with the concept of time and you're trying to grasp how long things are taking place during that, it's interesting to see, like, okay, so when ESO is over, how much of this carries on, or how much of this, because theoretically that could actually be part of the story itself.
I mean, dragon breaks obviously were used in the lore many times. Well, not many times, but a few times.
Yeah, a few.
It was always...
They don't overkill it, which I hope they stick to.
Yeah, exactly. See, it was always when Elder Scrolls lore drove itself into a wall. So whenever they were like, oh, well, we can't tie this up. This is we messed up.
What do we do?
Yeah, exactly. What do? We do a dragon break and explain like different timelines, different realities. Everything is jumbled up together, and bam, we can continue from this point now, and we do not question the rest of it.
Yes.
Now, it does make sense that everything that is happening in Elder Scrolls Online is part of a dragon break.
Sure.
Now, the thing is, putting that dragon break into the game, now that's where it gets tricky. Because it was always somewhere back in the lore that just happened. It wasn't an in-game event. How do you even portray a dragon break? I mean...
That's exactly it. It's because when Ag had mentioned, kind of like skidding the line where it was with what was it, the Staff of Towers is in and of itself kind of like a walking dragon breaking game. I'm wondering if that's again, could that possibly be leading you to realize, like, hey, since wink wink you're dealing almost with dragon, like, guess where you are currently is in this messed up lack of time thing where, Akatosh can't grasp hold of any of this to begin with.
See, I just thought about that as well. Like, a dragon break doesn't happen during the storyline we are about to get, but we just learn as a character and a player that we are living in a dragon break. Maybe Abnur Tarn comes up with some crazy stuff and he's like, oh yeah, we are living in a dragon break because I'm smart, or something like that. But here's the thing, what I fear about that is, if ZeniMax Online plays the dragon break card, literally, like, if they go ahead and confirm...
Quick, grab the dragon break card. We sent out a bunch of dragon break cards in physical form of our friends.
If they confirm that we are either living in a dragon break or Elder Scrolls Online's events are completely gonna get retconned by a dragon break, what they might do is, or what this might entail is, okay, we are going off lore here, so we are giving you a heads up that all this is part of a dragon break, so it doesn't matter we are going off lore. You know what I mean? So
they're almost prepping you like, hey, don't worry, guys. Yeah. Now we're also going to go completely off the rules.
Yeah,
like,
that's what
dragons are a thing, and the things that, like, Ag is worried about, where it's like, okay, there aren't that many dragons that are known of. Now, granted, that doesn't mean there aren't other dragons, because there are a couple floaters. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, it's pretty unlikely that nobody's bumping into them if there's 200,000 of them walking around.
Exactly, yeah. That's why I don't really want a dragon break event, because maybe they won't do it, maybe they won't do what I said, but it does feel like, to me, a dragon break event, to put it before actually breaking everything, that is just prepping up to prepare, like, basically to break everything in the future. So,
well, the only thing I'm wondering, which this is the big thing that I've actually, thank you for everybody, like, I'm not a lore discussion person, like, just in general conversation with people. I mean, I'll happily talk about whatever, but I usually like to have some knowledge of what I'm talking about in advance. I don't want to say something and then have it just be totally wrong. So I like to have some background knowledge of it. One of the things that I was kind of talking about was, so it seems like this will relate to, well, obviously Tharn, which then brings in, if we're dealing with elsewhere, we're going to be dealing with the whole Rimmen situation.
Right.
Which, one of the big things is, if we're dealing with that, and the Dragon Break has anything to do with that, the time frame seems kind of odd that we're basically missing a 300-year gap, if I remember correctly. Which, since time is already screwed up with that, and there's situations where records have been miskept in like the series, like the Alessian Wars, it's like, oh, they're 1,000 years long. Actually, they were like 100. Like they didn't sync up. I'm almost wondering if they might be going to give us the Rimmen storyline, and we find out that Talos wasn't on the time schedule we thought he was on.
Oh no! Don't go in there. No.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the unexplored. Now, again, I'm not saying I'm for that. I'm just saying I'm wondering if they're aiming to fill in areas that are more or less not talked about, if you follow what I'm saying. And since it's been hinted at that this is here, I'm wondering if it has something to do with, like, these events around Rimmen and stuff like that are going to happen, but the time frame is more condensed than we've originally had. So I'm wondering if they're shortening the timeline to fill in the story.
I mean, see, that it's possible. If this was a single-player Bethesda game, I would say more likely. But how effective is ZeniMax Online and Elder Scrolls Online in the overall lore of Elder Scrolls itself? How much? And
I'm not even necessarily like saying, that's a great idea. I hope they do. It's just the way that things are being portrayed. That's almost the type of thing that I'm like, this is the type of stuff we need to tread carefully. Otherwise, then it will just kind of be like, again, I don't want the series to just become nonsensical.
Casual Rangers actually made a good point. So he says also the entire Imperial Library is currently being burned during the Daedric occupation of Imperial City. So that can explain why a lot of this time period isn't documented. That makes sense.
Exactly. I mean, no, it absolutely does.
The greatest libraries are indeed
currently being roasted.
Yeah,
in a PvP zone.
So, yeah, that makes sense as well. Now, my thing is, though, how does all this tie to dragons? Because there, in the data mined images, there's actually an image of a dragon, and it's not like a zombie dragon or a skeleton dragon, like in Fanglair. Yeah. It's actually a very colored dragon. So
So, if it's a physical dragon and not like a metaphorical dragon, the only two, because again, it's not that there aren't dragons at this point, it's just that from my understanding there's not really a lot of them discussed. I mean, we know of a couple, then there's a couple floaters that aren't really talked about too much. Let's see. I had to look these up because their names are unbearable, so I will butcher these.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, I will butcher these in advance, so we got that going for us. So, for anybody unfortunate enough to have played the game TES Redguard, it's very bad. I played it right before I joined the show, actually. It's like a Tomb Raider game with really bad hitboxes and god-awful voice acting. There is a dragon there, although he, he shows up. That game takes place like 300 years after ESO in the timeline, and his name is, oh my lord, Nepharlagrus, whatever.
Nafalar, something like that.
Nafalaragris. Awful. And he worked for Tiber Septim, so he had direct ties to the Empire itself. However, that shouldn't really matter yet. Like, that timeline's 300 years later, like we just said.
Yeah, but
so
here's the thing.
Unless they do condense it, he shouldn't really matter.
I mean,
however, you go ahead.
During this time period, before his employment by Tiber Septim, isn't he hanging out with some high-rank princes or whatever?
I don't know. There's not a lot on him. As far as I know, I mean, I know he was picked up by the employee of him right before that war. But yeah, I think he was hanging out further north than like Hammerfell prior to that. But the one that I was curious on was great. Now I get to try to pronounce this one. The other dragon, which there's stuff where they're thinking that he might be the same one, but it's also possible that he's not, is Nafalar. It's Nahfahlar.
Oh, yeah, that's the one. That's the one I was trying to say. Yeah.
Okay. So theoretically, that actually might not be the same dragon. Like,
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was, from what they had, he was recorded by the Blades. This is off the USP, the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages, just for where I'm getting this information, so you guys can look it up yourselves and kind of make your own theories, find holes in this or whatever. These are just kind of ideas that I've stumbled across. And he, in general, was known specifically for meddling in the affairs, like helping them. Which, if Abner Tharn is doing anything with trying to gain power, and that that dragon is known for messing in the affairs of humans when requested, prior to Blades getting rid of them or whatever, I wonder if maybe that's who we're seeing? Like, could that be the dragon in question?
Could be. I'm quickly checking something. So, which year in Second Era is Elder Scrolls Online? So it's like 500 something, right? 5 to 600.
530 something.
Yeah, 580. I don't know, late 500s, I believe, but
yeah, five something. Yes.
Okay, so Nafalar is
583.
Right. Okay, yep. So Nafalar here it says, his alliance with the Casimir II in Vayrest was ended in 369, secondary 369, by Drakengard, but he escaped. So he's most recently escaped. He could be around.
Right.
There, as you said, there are other two. Then there is the obviously Durnevir from Sol Cairn, who could be tied to necromancy as well. He's a dragon lich.
That's true. I mean, if he's
because
right.
Ideal Masters, and Ideal Masters are apparently necromancers, but there are so little known about Ideal Masters that
and I have not played Battlespire yet. I have a copy of it. I have yet to put myself through that, as I need time to recover after Redguard.
So I mean, could my brain is slowly shutting down.
Yeah, I was gonna. This is the problem with dealing with Dragon Breaks. It slowly blows up our brains.
I mean, a story revolving around Ideal Masters could be too much. I don't know. Then again, Elder Scrolls Online did do stories about things that weren't really explained in overall Elder Scrolls. I don't know what it is. There's an example of it. Some stuff that we didn't really. I mean, Slodes, for example. Slodes.
Yeah, I love that they dealt with the Slode, because that was actually one of the groups I was always super interested in. And there was next to no information on Slodes other than like fan.
The biggest example, Sigix.
Yes, Sigix was.
They did a full story on Sigix Order, which were like oh yeah, we don't know anything about Sigicorder, and here we go, we have a full... So, now when I think about that, I mean, I think like, okay, they could do an Ideal Masters story. But how this all ties to Elsewhere again?
Twist I hadn't thought of was the Ideal Masters. I don't know.
Why Elsewhere? Why Elsewhere? I mean,
why else? I don't. I'm very curious. Outside nerd focus here, I'm very excited to see Elsewhere just because I've wanted to see Elsewhere. I'm not a huge Khajiit fan, even against them. They're just whatever. But the art team does such an incredible job with these environments in the DLC. Like, since the original base game, every one of these new zones or dungeon packs looks so incredible. I really want to see what they can do with Elsewhere, since it's never really been shown prior to.
Yep.
So just on that level, I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, of course. I'm just not interested in Khajiit's storyline. Like, I'm not interested in Argonian's storyline, so I'm not doing that either.
Sure. Right.
Yeah, but my thing is, how does this tie to Elsewhere? It could be the best zone, it could be the worst zone. I don't care.
Sure, but how does it all connect?
Yes, I mean, see, if you are going into Soul Cairn, I believe the only current known way is through Skyrim, the Chateau of Lord Harkon, where his wife made a portal that goes into Soul Cairn. I don't know if anyone else has that portal. We don't know. And that, considering they are vampires and she's been in Soul Cairn for God knows how long, that portal could be there since now.
Right.
Because, well, I something like that. I know. It's been so long since I last played it. So that's all the way up north. And then most of the dragons that are alive, they are either in Geral Mountains, like hiding somewhere in Morrowind, assumed.
Yeah, the deserts of Elsewhere seem like
High Rock and Hammerfell.
Peculiar place for them to just kind of be like, ta-da!
Imperial occupied Elsewhere.
What? Imperial occupied Elsewhere.
I mean, what does Abnur has to do with Elsewhere? Well, I think his sister is.
Is it his niece or his nephew? Is there
nephew, sister, something like that? Yes, a relative of his.
There's Tharns everywhere. That dude had so many children.
And here's the thing: in Abnur letter, he mentions ending the Three Banners War. What kind of a story are we getting? There's like necromancy, Khajiit, like necromancy, Elsewhere, dragons.
Yes, they've definitely got this prepped for a lot of interesting stuff to be coming out.
I mean, how does this all tie together? They can't end Three Banners War in no possible way. That would kill the entire PvP. Unless they're like, oh, we are gonna do a Dragon Break. Three Banners War never happened. Now we are doing some different PvP.
Oh god, that'd be it. That would make a lot of people real angry.
Yeah.
And it would be weird to take systems like that out of the game that you've already programmed, like the Emperorship and stuff like that. That wouldn't make sense. But I believe it was Caddy Jacks on Twitter that I was talking to made a reference to maybe there is some type of change coming to Cyrodiil. Like, even if it's still the same, you know what I mean? The overall system is still the same. If they change something, because to be fair, we just got a Midyear Mayhem. It's not Midyear. We've never had a Midyear Mayhem now. Next Midyear Mayhem, the expansion will like most of the chapter will likely already be out, so these changes will be in effect. So if something does change, did they want to squeeze in one more thing beforehand?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't think they're gutting the PvP. That doesn't make any sense. Especially because with Markmire, they just added destructible bridges and outposts. Like, why would they put that much effort in? I don't think it was
well received. I don't think the bridges and whatever, they didn't change.
I don't pay
anything.
any attention to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's as far as I heard, I mean, I didn't play too much Cyrodiil since then, but as far as I heard, apparently people just don't really ignore them.
Yeah, I totally do. And also, Casual Ranger did have the answer to that I was curious on. It's his half sister.
She's Queen of Rimen as well. Okay, so that's how it ties.
For some reason, I was thinking it was a niece, but okay, half sister. Got it. Thank you. No, I pay next to no attention to those things. The outposts are neat. Not outposts. I forget what they're called.
No, they're called outposts.
Are they called outposts? Okay, well,
yeah,
whatever. Having an
outpost,
extra little thing.
I think, yeah. Sejanus outposts. Yeah, they are outposts.
Okay, well, yeah, but the bridges and stuff, meh. I mean, they're fine. It's just I don't really pay any attention to them.
I mean, I know Casual Ranger wants a fourth faction into this. The Imperials as a full faction.
Imperials as like their own faction.
Yeah, I want that as well because, okay, there is Ebonheart Pact, there is Daggerfall Covenant, there's Aldmeri Dominion with their respective races and agreements, whatever. What is the entire Imperial Legion is up to at this point? Are they just chilling?
They're all just hanging out in the Imperial City, kind of.
Where are the battle mages? Where is the full force of Battlespire? What are these guys doing? They're supposed to be like this. What are they? Are they the?
Actually,
which legion was the battle mages? I forgot.
Okay, so again, this is not as thought through as, but you've mentioned the Soul Karen and the Masters. Well, if the Imperials are training there, maybe this is their entrance.
Oh.
Because they
bring
would be
in
in Battlespire
at the same time with Ideal Master storyline. Oh.
So
I like
theoretically like that'd be out there. But I mean that's where if they're training in the Battlespire, that would basically include, a possibility of a dragon. You've got the possibility of the Imperials having their main thing, because like you said, where are they? Like they're obviously training out there or whatever. Where are the majority of them that aren't the brainwashed Zero Legion chilling in the Imperial City? Maybe that's maybe they're bringing them in from the Soul Karen.
Yeah, I mean, I expect Casual Ranger to enlighten us. He might be typing it as we speak, but seriously, I mean, okay, we only know the Zero Legion Zero, as you said, the brainwashed people.
Yeah, you got the zombie ones.
So basically, either zombie ones or the loyalists, which are loyal to Molag Kena by mistake, thinking she is the Empress Regent. But like there are so many legions, the Imperial army, the entire... And if you think about it, like in the first cinematics that we got, the three alliances are storming a fortress filled with Imperial soldiers. They're like fighting. But in the game, all we see is the loyalists. And a very few during the Imperial City quest line, the storyline, just one zone has a group of actual loyal Imperials who are fighting. And that's it. There's like 4 Imperial soldiers left that can fight. Shadow Legion. There we go. Shadow Legion. The Battlespire.
Shadow Legion. Those guys. Yes, thank you. I don't know. It's just... I'm very eager to see what they release on the 15th, because obviously they're going to be a trailer and they're going to give us some prep to what's coming, but more so I'm very curious once this finally lands how this story is going to unfold. It does unfortunately make me very curious to look up these apparent leaks, but I'll
resist. Just 3 more days, man.
Exactly. And also, this is kind of fun, like, because again, these are just like, hey, here's a possibility. Here, this is kind of neat, blah, 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 just based on stuff we do and don't know. It's just kind of fun to, like, mess around with what the possibilities could be. And then it's like we end up probably being totally wrong or whatever.
I mean, speculations are always fun. Which actually brings me to, like, let's I mean, it's quite late for you. How much time do you have?
I can manage for the time being.
All right.
I'm good for the moment.
So let's talk about data mining, right?
Yes.
Is it good? Is it bad? Should it continue, or should ZeniMax Online, block it somehow? Or is ZeniMax Online allowing this on purpose to build up hype or whatever? What are your opinions on this?
Okay, so I've heard some conspiracy tinfoil hat things where they've kind of, like, people think ZeniMax like intentionally did this. Which I don't know. Maybe I'm naive, but I don't buy that. I guess it's a thing. People told me it was a thing with WoW. That's why I guess it's been suggested. I guess I don't know. I didn't play WoW, so I just kind of have to take that on as much face value as I'm given. Data mining doesn't bother me usually when it just relates to core like numbers and stuff like that, like behind the scenes, like you're trying to figure out systems or whatever. That type of data mining doesn't bother me. That's fine. The only problem with data mining in this case is exactly what you and I just said. This stuff's kind of fun, and maybe it's not to everybody, but I enjoy the way they kind of release information. Like, it can be kind of neat. It's like, and they work to get this stuff and have it be interesting. And then it's kind of fun to get it in little bits and chunks and stuff like that. So that's kind of amusing. This specific data mine, although it didn't ruin it, everybody was all excited about the tablets, and I was like, oh, what's this going to mean? And it was just like, elsewhere, dragons, necromancer. It's like, okay, well, that didn't necessarily give us concrete answers, but it's like, okay, you kind of took some of that out of it. It's like some of the wind just left the sail, because it's like, okay, boom, boom, boom. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do I think they should stop it? I mean, not necessarily. They already have enough they have to deal with, and I mean, I'm sure that there's a reason they put that code in early. It probably makes it easier to program. And I can't fathom trying to make this game run as is. So, like, hey, if they need like a shortcut to try to ease up things for a launch of whatever, that's fine. But I don't know. It definitely kind of killed a little of the buzz with this one. Even if it didn't like ruin anything. Although if there was a bunch that was leaked storyline wise, where it's just like, oh, here's the whole plot. That would be super lame.
Yeah.
Just look, if you did that, keep that to yourself. Like, don't spread that. That's lame. So that's kind of my take on data mining.
Yeah. I mean, some data mining I enjoy, like, the cosmetics, oh, we are going to get this mount or whatever. And even let's say the necromancy, because it gives us a lot to talk about as well. It just a bit of what's going to come gives us a lot of extra room for speculation. But as I said, I don't know what the leaks that Wicked Wolf was talking about on Twitter with you, but
and I did not look into it, especially when he said, he's like, don't if you're not looking for spoilers. Like, okay, nope, I'm not gonna do that then.
Yeah, I mean, that amount of data mining, that's bad. I mean, I'm thinking, can ZeniMax Online control this? Somehow use some sort of, I don't know, encryption on the file names. Not like, wow, encryption, but just something you would understand, something Zas would understand. But when we look at it, it's like AB07KJ, whatever,
It's gonna just be so hard to try to keep people off stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they were forced. This announcement on 15th is a forced move as well. It's not gonna be.
I agree. So
they probably had to push things ahead of schedule now.
Yes, and I think they had a plan. I think they might have just squeezed all the plan really quick, because like that's why I kind of didn't really go with the tinfoil hat thing. It's like, oh well, they fed the data leak type of thing, quote unquote, and I'm like, I don't know. The immediate response, again, it could be incredibly like in-depth like marketing that makes it look like not marketing, if that's really bad. But just as soon as it data leaks and they're just like, maybe 5 hours later, and it's like, okay, well, the cat's out of the bag. I guess we've got an announcement trailer coming out. It's just like, that to me seems more like damage control so that they can keep some interest as opposed to like, okay, so now that we've strategically leaked it, it's like, I don't know. That seems a little... You're spending a lot of resources trying to come out with ways to make it look like that you're not coming up with ways to leak stuff.
I mean, I guess they could somehow stop it, but
I'm sure there's a way. It just, is that way worth more than...
Oh yeah, there is that too. Yeah,
that's just it, because it's like, I mean, we don't need to look at... Just with social media, everything's plastered everywhere, so it's kind of like hard to dodge it. It's like when, you know, Game of Thrones will come out in April, and people are going to download all of the episodes right out the gate, and then immediately say what the ending is.
I mean, Game of Thrones actually had the entire season, like a couple seasons ago, I believe, entire season was leaked with bullet points.
I remember that.
Like, we knew what was going to happen. I mean, I didn't look at it, but my friend did, and he was like, yep, I know what's going to happen.
It becomes on us to dodge getting things spoiled as opposed to needing to look to spoil.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, I expect a announcement, not just on all the stuff, but also data mining as well, because this time, like, data mining has always been a thing since the launch of Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is the first time it was this, like, timing was awful.
It was quick, too.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, hey, here's the thing. Boom, there's a data leak. It's like, quick.
I mean, before people could even register the tablet thing, I think Classic 80 was the first one to get it.
That was where I first saw it.
Yeah. I saw that. Like, I saw that on Twitter. And at the same time, so the day, like, just the day after, just the day after, there was the data mine stuff. It was, I guess, so I expect them to, either Rich or whatever, whoever, to, like, okay, this is why data mining happens, this is why we can't or won't block it, you know, some sort of, what are they thinking about all
people like explanations. Like, if you tell people something, people are more willing to accept things when it's like, look, it makes it easier to do this, as opposed to you just say, we're going to do this. You just say why, and it makes it easier for people to accept.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, anything else you want to say on this topic?
No, I think we've pretty well and exhausted that.
I'm just bringing up the time for the announcement of Bethesda. Alright, so twitch.tv/Bethesda, January 15 at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The season of the dragon approaches. There will be a live stream, and they are going to, well, announce everything, and well, basically we are gonna understand what it all means.
Yeah, at least where they're going with this.
Yep.
And
yeah,
I was gonna say,
you do your
thing.
thing.
I mean, so normally we do a networking at Nern thing, and instead of doing that specifically this week, just related to the Bethesda stream, I would like to kind of do a networking Nern / just shouting out. Ninja614 and Jibs the Lore Seeker are going to be doing the post show for that, which is fantastic, and everybody should stick around to watch that. Both of them are fantastic guys. Especially, you know, Ninja's helped me out a lot with charity stuff and streaming, and obviously the Lore Seekers are one of the other Elder Scrolls podcasts, and they do a fantastic job. So it's really cool to see that they get included in this big thing. I think that's a very cool opportunity for them, and I was really excited for Jibs. That seemed really awesome to just see his name posted up there.
So that's gonna start at 6 p.m. Eastern, if I remember correctly.
Correct, I believe so, because
Eastern is
which makes sense because
so
Somerset was like an hour.
Yeah. 6 p.m. Eastern is gonna be so late for me. I hope I can.
Yeah, what time would that be for you?
So add 8 hours.
4 a.m.
No, hold on.
Wait, at 8 hours? 2 a.m.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So I think I'll probably miss it because it's in the middle of the week. I'll have work the other day.
Which is also funny because to me, this is one of the only never catch these things. I will be home from work Friday at 5. I was like, oh my god.
All right, so let's, I guess, wrap this show up.
Yeah, I think that's probably...
Lotus, where people can find you.
So I am LotusofDoom on Twitter. I am begrudgingly LotusOD on Twitch. I'll be the person typing in chat because I'm not sure why Twitch still won't give me my name, but for whatever reason, I am on Twitter. Twitter is my real name. Twitch is my abbreviated LotusOD. I haven't really had as much time to stream, unfortunately. I've been very busy with this. This has been the extent of my streaming. But hopefully this year I can kind of adjust because I miss streaming and it's fun to just chat with you guys while I stream. But yeah, if you ever need to get a hold of me, feel free to hit me up anytime on Twitter.
All right. Also, before I end, Casual Ranger gave us some information about the legions. 7th Legion, 7th Legion were crushed by Daggerfall Covenant if you played the DC questline. 2nd Legion, Gold Coast, fell apart after the rebellion. Westwell Legion, you fight in the AD questline. I never did the AD questline, and I'm proud of it.
Which is why I was like, oh crap, I'm actually cute that now.
But they also apparently control northern Elsewhere, so we might actually see the remnants or whatever of the Westville Legion. But yeah, so apparently they are just
these little scattered Imperial groups floating all over the place as opposed to any actual consolidated Imperial rule.
Alright, so you can find me anywhere that is Arkhaniir, ARKHANIIR. I haven't been able to stream much lately, but I hope to start, but it's just a hope. The new work has been busy. You can follow everything we do over at dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. There you can find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Be sure to check out our Patreon. I forgot the Patreon shoutouts. Well, I don't have access to Patreon shoutouts. Thank you all so much. I hope.
Yes, for anybody that donates, thank you so much for helping keep this stuff running for us.
Yeah. I guess Ag will give the proper shoutouts on the next week, but I don't have access to the lists of the names and things like that. So but be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/dungeoncrawlernetwork if you want to help support the show, as well as consider, again, see, there is this right here, there's a problem right there. Last time I hosted the show, this was the problem as well. If you want to help support the show,
it seems like we've done this before.
Yeah, there needs to be a comma there. That's the problem. Okay, there we go, it's fixed. If you want to help support the show, as well as consider no, it's still not right. I told you it would have been a messed up outro.
Hey, we sort of railed it at a couple points.
Okay, this needs fixed. Anyway, consider leaving us a 5-star reviews on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast, that what I say matters and Ags just tells lies and Guaraniir never happened. Thank you so much for joining.
That right there is blasphemy.
Thank you so much for joining this episode of Tales of Tamriel. We will see you next week. I hope you enjoyed this derailed discussion of almost 2 hours, actually, Lotus.
Good lord.
But there's a lot to talk about, and hopefully next week we'll have full crew. Ag will be feeling well, and we'll get to listen to his volcanic hellfire upon the news of dragons.
Yes, as we'll know by then what's going on, and he'll be able to counteract any of possible heresy we spoke on this week's show.
Exactly. All right, well, I hope you all have a great time, and see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
When Akatosh slew Lorcan, he ripped his heart right out. He hurled it across Tamriel, and the heart was heard to shout, red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. The laughing heart sprayed blood afar, a gout on Seir it fell, and like a dart shot to its mark down in an alien well. Magic effused the Lorcan blood to crystal red and strong. Then wild elves cut and polished it down to chimel at a ball. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. When elves lost Nirn to men, Akatosh gave the stone to Saint Alesh in token of her right to sit the throne. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. Red diamond, protect us till the end.